So welcome to our September general membership meeting. I'm your president, Josh Wing Moreno. We have a packed agenda tonight, so I won't take too long. We have several Missouri House and Senate candidates that are going to provide a brief statement to all of us. If you do have questions, we would recommend or suggest that you put those in the chat. If we happen to have time afterwards, we might be able to get some of those addressed, or we can always do follow up with the candidates afterwards. After the candidates speak, Margie Richcreek will provide information about voter information. I might provide a little bit of that as well. I'll also be presenting the PIAC updates that we did for the PIAC 2020 calendar year, or funding year. We'll briefly touch on the Cummings Critters photo book. That's something that's pretty nice and interesting if you're interested. And we'll also have KCPD updates and then our upcoming events and raffle. All right, so without further ado, Julia, is there a certain order that we go in for the candidates to speak?
Not in particular. I have them listed in an order, which you're welcome to, or at least on the agenda, which you're welcome to use, or I can also list.
Okay.
So first up, we have Nathan Kline. He's running for Missouri Senate District 7. He's a Green Party candidate. And Nathan, if you would like to give an introduction to yourself.
Well, hello, everyone. I thank the West Plaza Neighborhood Association for inviting me. I'm Plaza Westport, right next door to you. So, you know, I love West Plaza, and I've been a neighbor of yours. Moved into Westport in 1991. So I'm welcome. I'm happy to be welcomed by you neighbors. And so what I'm here to talk about is I just want to let you know why I'm running as a Green Party candidate for the 7th Missouri Senate District this year, and to let you know a little about the opportunity that the Green Party offers more broadly to make government at all levels more responsive to the needs of us voters and our communities. I'm a lifelong resident of Kansas City, Missouri, and a longtime homeowner in the Plaza Westport neighborhood, and a graduate of the Kansas City Art Institute. I am first and foremost a relentless worker. I'm a creative problem solver, and I've developed a strong background in both the public and the private sector. I've been a manager and administrator of large organizations. After about 25 years of hospitality management experience, I brought my skill set to the public sector in 2013, and now work for the City Planning and Development Department of the City of Kansas City, Missouri, where I am currently dedicated to public service. And I'm now offering myself as a public servant to the people of Missouri. Like most state Senate and House districts, the 7th Senate District is purposely gerrymandered in such a way to make it a one-party district. City districts like the 7th are gerrymandered to be Democratic Party districts that the Republicans don't run candidates in. And the opposite happens in rural districts in Missouri. Greg Razer is the Democratic Party politician that has been chosen for us by the Democratic Party to represent our district, and the Republicans are running nobody against him. Despite inheriting this supposedly non-competitive district, Greg Razer has already been gifted over $122,000 in campaign contributions from business interests that are counting on his support for contracts, tax breaks, regulatory relief, and other favors. This type of corruption has been made normal and legal in the United States by the Democratic and Republican parties, but it is not moral or good for our communities. This situation is unacceptable. That is where I and the Green Party come in. All Green Party candidates, including myself, refuse campaign donations from business interests and rich individuals. We are a very different kind of political party made up of working people engaged in a volunteer-based grassroots movement to return power to voters and our communities so that our tax dollars work for us as opposed to wealthy campaign contributors. No other country allows for this legalized bribery of public officials in the form of campaign donations. It is appropriate for companies and wealthy individuals to seek government contracts as well as regulatory and tax relief where appropriate, but under no circumstances should they be allowed to give cash and other gifts to the officials that decide how the biggest pot of money in the world is distributed the biggest pot of money in the world is the US tax base. This is the root of the failure of the political class in America today. Unfortunately, the two parties that designed and benefited from this system will not reform it. They have locked themselves into golden handcuffs that impede their ability to innovate and lead our society to overcome the multiple crises which now threaten the sustainability of our society. They are locked into supporting the status quo by their close fiscal relationship to the current winners of our society, and have frankly become lazy and uncreative in addressing challenges like the climate crisis, income inequality, affordable health care, and housing access, to name just a few of the areas where they simply cannot think outside of the box. John Kennedy told us that those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. Peaceful revolutions are political revolutions. The Green Party is currently offering the only political alternative to this dysfunctional and unsustainable set of circumstances that we now find ourselves in. I urge you to learn more about the narrow window of opportunity that the Green Party represents before the chaos that has already started to manifest itself in our community grows even more concerning and destabilizing. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. I look forward to working with all of you in the future, my neighbors, to strengthen our community and leave it better than we found it for the generations that follow us. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Nathan. So Julia, who's up next?
Next up is Greg Razer. He is also running for Missouri Senate District 7.
Thank you all for having me and for hosting this tonight. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe. And let me welcome you to Jefferson City, which is where I'm at tonight, here in my lovely apartment that I have here. Tomorrow we go back into session for veto session and special session of the legislature. They'll kind of run concurrently. And we're going to be spending time tomorrow in Jefferson City doing things that, quite frankly, aren't what the people of Missouri want us focused on. The veto session won't take any time. There's a couple of issues, and we'll get through those. The governor has called us back in for a special session on crime, yet we're not addressing any of the root causes of crime in our society. The governor has looked at increased penalties for crime. He has looked at locking more people up. We need representation that looks at the root causes of crime. We also need representation who's willing to say that Black Lives Matter, which is something that the governor has not done, that the majority in the House and the Senate in Jefferson City refuse to do. We need to work creatively to bring everyone into society, to make sure that the American dream works for everyone. And sadly, I don't think it does right now for all members of the state of Missouri and all citizens of the United States. Tomorrow, I'm going to walk into a Capitol building where probably 70% of the people there are without masks. And they do it willingly. They are either COVID deniers, or they simply want to look tough. If the most dangerous place for me to be that I have been in the last several months is in our state Capitol building. We need people who believe in science, who believe in facts. That's what I believe in. That's what I want to come to Jefferson City and work on. Yet here we are. I will be in more danger tomorrow than at any point in the last several months. As we move forward, we've got to start thinking about bigger picture issues. We've got to start looking at our state, which quite frankly is crumbling beneath us after 20 years of passing the buck on doing basic infrastructure needs, our roads and bridges, our ports, but also our schools and our universities, and making sure our young people can get the education they need to keep moving Missouri forward in the future. we've got a really important election coming up in November. So in case you don't know, every statewide elected office in the state of Missouri is controlled by Republicans except for one, and that's Nicole Galloway as state auditor. Both the House and the Senate chambers have supermajorities, which mean that there are so many, it is so outweighted because of gerrymandering that even if we have a Democratic governor and she vetoes.
Greg Razer.
Yes. I heard my name. Even if the governor vetoes something, there is not enough votes to override the veto in either the House or the Senate. We have an opportunity to change that with this election, with Nicole Galloway as governor. And then there are 2 seats that we think we can pick up that will break the supermajority status in the Senate, which will change Jefferson City, which will change the trajectory of where our state is going. These are huge, important elections. I haven't even begun to talk about national politics and the things that we continue to hear about President Trump. I'm saying all of this to try to put a bigger picture in mind, that every 4 years we have these elections where we're electing a president, a governor, senators, and people like me come forward and say that this is the most important election of our lifetime. And let's be honest, they're all very important, but usually that statement's not true. That statement is true this time. This is the most important election we have voted on in any of our lifetimes. And I want to encourage everyone, regardless of who you vote for, to get out and make your voices heard. I would like to ask for your vote for state senate. You can find out more about me at gregrazer.com. Shoot me an email, greg@gregrazer.com. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all my name. I would be so honored to represent the city of Kansas City in our state senate. I look forward to working with you all for years to come. And if there's any questions I can answer, I'm happy to do so. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Greg. Next up, we have Patty Lewis, who is running for Missouri House District 25, and I believe that is south of 46th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Patty. Please go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to participate in this event this evening. Thank you very much. And as we said, I'm Patty Lewis. I'm running for Missouri House District 25. And the northern boundary of my district is 46th Street. So if you're on the south side of 46th Street, you're in House District 25. If you're on the north side of 46th Street, you're in House District 24. On my website, we have a map and you can plug in your address, or you can just message me and I can help figure it out for you. So just a little bit about me. I've been in healthcare for 20 years as an ICU nurse and as a healthcare executive. I've been advocating for people my entire professional career, from the most vulnerable patients in the hospital to the teams I've led. I'm an experienced leader who knows how to get things done, and I do not shy away from a challenge. I decided to run for state representative because I am extremely concerned with what's happening in our state. Poor legislation and policies in place are leaving folks behind. They're failing us, and I feel compelled to advocate for you and all Missourians and fight for a better future for us all. Some of my top priorities, as well as the top priorities I'm hearing from voters as I talk to them on the phone, because I'm not knocking doors these days, is number one, healthcare. Even before the pandemic, with the failure to expand Medicaid, hospitals closing, now folks are losing their jobs and their healthcare coverage in the midst of a pandemic. I believe healthcare is a right, not a privilege. The one and only nurse in the Missouri House of Representatives has termed out. So we are lacking representation from healthcare experts when this is one of the top concerns. Some other priorities are gun violence prevention, equal rights for all, and a transparent and ethical government. That's just a little bit about me and my priorities. I think I failed to mention I am the Democratic nominee I am unopposed in the general election, so I will be representing you in Jefferson City. I know time is limited, so please, go to my website, Patty4Mo, that's PATTYFORMO.com, to learn more about me and where I stand on the issues. I have my contact information, my phone number, and my website there as well. So if I haven't heard from you, I'd love to hear from you. I want to know what's important to you and what I can do to best represent you in Jefferson City. And as Greg said, we have to get out and vote. You can vote by mail, absentee in person. Just make a plan, get out and vote. Since I am unopposed in the general, I am working on some of the seats that Greg mentioned, helping other candidates across the metro to flip seats, save seats, as well as working on getting folks registered to vote. So thank you so much for your time, and I will stop right there, and hopefully we have time for questions. If not, please reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Patty. Last but not least, we have Emily Weber. She is running for Missouri House District 24.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting us virtually to your neighborhood association. My name is Emily Weber, and I am the Democratic nominee for Missouri House District 24. This seat is currently held by Representative Judy Morgan, who is termed out this year. This is my first time running for office, and it's been one amazing journey. I'm from a small town in Kansas. I'm adopted from South Korea. I moved to Kansas City in the early 2000s to attend Kansas City Art Institute. Like Nathan, I'm a graduate from KCI. After graduation, I just stayed because, why would you move? Being raised in a small conservative town wasn't always easy on me, but it did teach me a lesson, and that lesson still drives me today. Our communities make us stronger, and I owe it to my community to give back. I'm committed to listening closely to our neighbors to identify common values and create shared vision for our state. The reason I decided to run was because I was, and I still am, worried about the present and future of Missouri. February of 2019, we started this campaign. I had pretty much 100 top issue list that I wanted to fix in Missouri. We knew we had to narrow that down to 3 to 4 priorities. So we went out early in the community and talked to the district to see what their top issues were. That is how we prioritized our issues. If I was going to be a representative for a district, I wanted to make sure I'm representing you to the best of my abilities. So far too many people, just like what Patty said, they're dying because they can't afford health insurance. I will fight for affordable health care for everyone in Missouri and look for any opportunities that will help. I'm a huge supporter of Medicaid expansion, was thrilled when Missouri passed out on August 4th. The children of Missouri deserve a quality education, but every year, the Missouri legislature shortchanges public education funding. I'll work to support public education and to ensure all students have an access to high quality public education, regardless of race, class, gender, or sexual orientation. Our reproductive health care continues to get attacked. I've been a volunteer at Planned Parenthood, and I am the only candidate for the 24th district that is endorsed by them. I will always continue to fight for reproductive rights. I'm also committed to fighting for racial justice. We can do this by policy change in our education system, healthcare, housing, voting, and employment. These were just our top priorities that we constantly heard in our area. But I'm also pro-LGBTQIA, pro-union, pro-environment, and pro-common sense gun laws. The more our government starts to look like what America actually looks like, full of diverse people of all backgrounds, the more decisions will be made that will truly promote equality for everyone. We have 49 days until the election. So like everybody else, please help register people to vote. Get your friends and family members registered properly, socially distanced, and then help them make a voting plan. This election is in dire need. We need everybody. We need everybody on board. So I hope to earn your vote. Please reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns. I can put my information in the chat box too. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emily. And I appreciate everyone keeping their comments or introductions quite brief. It does look like we've got some time for questions. And I would suggest respondents keep their answer to about a minute, if that sounds fair. But one of the questions for the candidates was, to all candidates, what is your position on school vouchers or tax credits for contributions for private and parochial student scholarships? I think we'll just kind of return to original order. Nathan, would you like to respond?
Sure, of course. I'm a firm believer in public schools, and I don't agree with siphoning money from the public schools into private schools. I am a big supporter of actually increasing the funding for public schools and to make every public school a great public school, and that takes more money. And the Green Party is the only party that will tell you right out loud, we're going to go get the money where it's at, which is in the hands of the billionaires. The three richest billionaires in this country have more money than the bottom 50% of all Americans. That type of wealth hoarding is at the root of not only this problem, but all the rest of the
10 more
problems.
seconds.
That's it.
Right. Thank you. Next, Greg Razer.
Yeah, I can save some time for everyone. I am very much opposed to school vouchers. We've got to be funding our public education. We've got to take care of all of our kids. Regardless of where you live, we have this crazy system where we are, the quality of your education is based on the zip code that your parents live in. And that's ridiculous. We need to fix the current system and not be spending our money to send kids out of the system.
Thank you, Greg. Patty Lewis?
Yes, thank you so much. And I do not support tax credits and vouchers for private and parochial schools. Like others have said, we need to invest in our current education. Your zip code shouldn't define how successful you will be in school. I've been working with folks. My district covers both Kansas City public schools as well as Center public school districts. I've been working with folks from the school boards to learn what I can do as state representative. And the number one thing is we need to adequately fund our schools. We are not doing that, and our kids are falling short. So that's something that I will advocate for, adequate funding of our schools. I'm pleased to share with you that I have been endorsed by the Missouri NEA as well as Better Schools for Missouri because of my commitment to education.
Thank you very much. And Emily.
Yeah, so like everybody else has said, I am a huge supporter of public education. I oppose the vouchers. Right now, anything that's going to hurt our public schools, we need to make sure that we are opposing. Our public schools have taken hit after hit each year. This year with COVID-19, it has been the worst year for our public schools. So right now we need to make sure that they are safe and grow stronger, and they have the support and funding that they need to educate our Missourian children. And like Patty, I am also endorsed by the Missouri NEA and Better Schools.
Great, thank you very much. And for this next question, we'll go in reverse order, shake things up a little bit. So Emily, we'll start with you this time. This is from Josh, who asks, what measures would you recommend we take to prepare Missouri for climate change? Again, please keep your answers to about 1 minute.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna just a minute, but so I am a huge supporter of. I'm a huge believer in the climate crisis. So I have been involved in many different environmental groups. Right now, I serve on the policy committee for Climate Action KC. I'm also with. And I can't think of the name right now, but anyways, so Climate Action KC, I serve on the policy committee. I understand in Missouri, we are having some issues with the supermajority, understanding that climate crisis is a real thing and is hitting us quickly. So right now, we are working on different policy ways where we can fix in Missouri some things very quickly. They aren't going to be huge, but we are moving very quickly on some of the smaller issues.
About 10 more seconds.
Hopefully, as we develop more and we get more elected officials that believe in science and the climate crisis, we can start moving on and really pushing on the bigger issues, which is coal.
Thank you very much. Next, Patty.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like Emily, I serve on the Climate Action KC Policy Committee, and we are currently working, right now, we've got a meeting, I think in a couple days, working on a one-pager to introduce legislation to combat climate change. It is real, it is a crisis. There's things that we're looking at to help sell measures to the Republican, like relating it to dollars. For example, MoDOT is responsible for maintenance and mowing of the on the interstate, and it costs millions of dollars to maintain that. Things that we can do is plant native plants and wildflowers that will decrease MoDOT's costs, as well as its deep root system to draw down. So those are just one simple example. I know we've got limited time. I also want to share with you, because of my commitment to climate change, I have been endorsed by the Sierra Club, and I am will do whatever I can do within my power to draw down as state representative in Jefferson City.
Thank you very much. Greg, your turn.
Yeah, this is a really big question for a 60-second answer. So please reach out to me and I'm happy to speak more. I have the Sierra Club endorsement and very proud to have that. But let me say the very first thing that Missouri needs to do to tackle climate change is up to Missourians. We have to elect people who believe that climate change is real. And the sad state of affairs is, in the town I'm in right now, I don't believe the majority of people who serve in the Capitol building believe that climate change is happening. And if they do, they really don't care. I get asked often, what are we doing to tackle climate change? We, on the Democratic side of the aisle, introduce lots of bills that deal with this issue. But the things that we pass are preempting cities and municipalities from banning plastic bags or plastic straws. What we're doing is the opposite. We need more people who believe in science, whether it's for climate change, COVID, whatever is attacking us. We've got to believe in science, and you've got to send those people to Jefferson City.
Thank you very much. And then Nathan.
Well, I think the Green Party has been the leader on this. We invented the Green New Deal 13 years ago, okay? We're way in front of this issue. We're trailblazers in this issue. And the reason why is because we don't take money from the fossil fuel industry. My opponent, Razer, is taking money from the utilities that burn the fossil fuel that is killing us. I walked into work today and I smelled California on fire, okay? The climate scientists are not at this point arguing whether it's real or not. And we're talking about thousands of PhDs in dozens of fields that have been telling us for multiple generations now what's going to happen. And it's actually happening faster than they thought it was going to. They're actually arguing now whether or not it's too late to do anything about it, okay? So the time for fooling around with this, and the Democratic Party's official position is that they still are for subsidizing fossil fuel development. So vote for the future, vote Green Party, vote Nathan Kline.
Thank you very much. Well, it looks like we only have about 1 or 2 more minutes. Josh, did you have any preference on how we use the last 1 or 2 minutes?
I don't have any preference other than just to thank all the candidates again for coming out. I think now is an appropriate time if people want to applaud or do whatever. Like, thank you again for coming out and
thank you very much for coming out.
Speaking to us.
Absolutely.
And thank you for taking on. It really is. I've been in public service now for like 3 years, even just on a neighborhood board. It is a little bit of a burden. It's a bit of a job to do, but it's something that you do enjoy doing because it's good work worth doing. So I want to thank you all again for taking on that challenge and for doing what you feel right.
I want to
support us.
remind Patty and Greg to put your contact information on the chat so that when it gets, I don't know if the recording, if the chat
Will
shows
do.
up, but
You got that on there.
but thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thanks for
having
being
us.
willing to answer our questions too.
Thank you for having us.
All
And
right,
you can
so
hang and listen to this stuff.
yeah, you're welcome to
Or
hang
not.
out. We'll move along because we've got a packed agenda. But all candidates, if you make sure to put your website information, your contact information in the chats, we'll be sure to share that on our Facebook group. In case anyone has any follow-up questions, they'll know how to contact you or reach out to you or find more information for themselves. All right, so next up on the agenda, we have voter information to be presented by Margie Richcreek.
Here, can I unmute? Yeah, I can unmute myself.
Yes.
Thanks. I need to warn everyone that I have an unstable cable connection, and so sometimes I freeze up, you freeze up, nobody can hear anybody, but it ends quickly. So I will try to be aware of that and not let that become too much of a diversion. You know, the main thing that we need to do is for each of us to have a plan for how we're going to vote, not necessarily for whom we're going to vote, but how we are going to vote on November 3rd. And then we need to ask our friends and family, what is your plan? What is their plan? What everybody has to be, as has been said, aware of how this is going to happen, because we all have a lot of options. The very first most important thing is everyone must be registered to vote. And the deadline for that is 5 p.m. on October 7th. October 7th at 5 p.m. you must be registered to vote if you are going to vote on November 3rd. And because we have a lot of new neighbors in the meeting, but if you have a new neighbor on your block, let them remind them that they must make a change of address, even if they're moving from another place in Kansas City. They have to have a change of address because we vote where we live. And so that's important by October 7th, just a couple more weeks to get that accomplished. To do that, we used to be able to send people to public libraries. And that was a very convenient way to get registered to vote. That's not working so well right now. So my suggestion is to go to the Kansas City Election Board, just go online, register online. It is not quite the same, or to go down to Union Station, to the Kansas City Election Board. It's in the basement of Union Station. It's not the easiest place to find, but if you go to the northeast corner of the lobby, there by the great little restaurant, which I can't say right now, Pierpont's. Down on that end, there's an elevator that's not too easy to find. We've been working forever to get them to do better signage at Union Station, both for absentee voting and for the Kansas City Election Board. You can vote or you can register online. The next thing that's really important is applying for an absentee ballot. And as you read the newspapers and watch the news, you know that there's a lot of confusion with this. So I'm going to try to make it really simple. Everyone must apply, everyone in Missouri must apply for an absentee ballot. If you receive an application for an absentee ballot, you have to be careful. Anyway, my point is, you can go to the Kansas City Election Board, you can print off or get that application online and mail that in as soon as possible. The deadline for applying for an absentee ballot is October 21st. Now I'm using the word absentee ballot because there are two ways that you can mail in a ballot. One is the traditional absentee ballot, which has a little caveat this year with the COVID. And if someone is at risk for COVID, that can be another reason to apply for an absentee ballot. The other way to get a mail-in ballot is called actually a mail-in ballot. And so when you get your application form, you need to read it very carefully. If you apply for an absentee ballot and your reasoning is that you're concerned about COVID and you feel that you're at risk, you need to check that box. But if you do not qualify for that area, that section, then you will probably have to just apply for a mail-in ballot. And that will be at the bottom of that application form. So you read it carefully and know whether you're applying for an absentee ballot or a mail-in ballot, both of which can be mailed in, but they are two separate kinds of applications. The ballot you receive, of course, will be the same. The applications are different. Read it carefully. The other difference between them is that someone who is considered at risk for COVID does not have to have, you do not have to have your ballot notarized, but any other application for absentee or mail-in, you must take your ballot, when you receive it later, you must take your ballot and have it notarized.
May I speak and give another opinion on this? Anybody can walk in and vote absentee in person without requesting a ballot.
With that, yes, I will certainly be mentioning that. Right now, I'm talking about the mail-in system. The other thing that's important about this is that there are some ballots that have to be notarized. Of course, you can walk in. Of course, if you can get to Union Station and you can start not until September 22nd, but on September 22nd, the ballots will be available and you will be able to vote absentee at Union Station starting September 22nd. That's true. Thank you for that information.
Oh, you're welcome.
And so applying for an absentee ballot, the deadline is October 21st. The ballots will be ready September 22nd, and I think that those are the keys for right now, getting ready to make a plan for how you'll vote. Are there any questions or any other suggestions? I know that all of us know a lot about this actually, and there might be other suggestions that other people have.
So Margie, when is the last, this is Francine, when is the last day that you can go to Union Station to vote?
The day of the election. You can vote at Union Station absent for an absentee ballot, because otherwise you have to vote at your polling place with your own, but you can vote at Union Station right up through the day of the election.
Okay.
Margie, I never knew that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, there are a lot of little things about voting that we have taken for granted for a long time, and it's I think with the importance of this election that has been expressed so many times tonight, we want to make sure that all these ins and outs that people don't really think about much are asked about and brought forward.
Margie, I have a question.
Okay.
If for some reason I need to get my form notarized, is it true that I have to pay to have it notarized?
You might have to, depending on who you go to. The other site that I want, but there are many free notary locations. And the other site that I think is very important for you all to remember is the nonpartisan League of Women Voters site. It's LWVKC, League of Women Voters Kansas City, lwvkc.org. And at that site, you will find a list of free ballot notary schedules, most of them located at Kansas City community centers, which are quite convenient to everyone. one of the main things we're all concerned about is access to voting. Voter suppression has been very big concern. And so making free notaries available throughout the city and not just tucked into the basement of Union Station is very important.
It's the second floor. It's the basement. May I say something? You know, usually any bank that you bank at will notarize these things for free.
Of course. If many people have access to notary for lots of different reasons, week in and week out. This is a situation that is created for people who do not tend to have a banking account, do not tend to have official papers notarized. And so having to have this notarized is a very difficult situation for many people. And that's why they have these free locations listed and available. It's very important that people not have to pay to have their ballot notarized.
We
Margie,
have to.
Sorry, Julie, go ahead.
Trish at Yarn Social, one of our business members, just became a notary, and she has offered to notarize ballots by appointment through her website, yarnsocial.com.
Great.
And then Cafe Corazon is having an event on March 10th, a drive-by. October 10th. Did I say March? Oh, God. October 10th, a drive-by notarization.
And where is that going to be?
At Cafe Corazon at 43rd and Bell.
43rd and Bell. That's great.
It'll be on the discussion group closer to, and then Trish's information is on the discussion group today. Stephanie.
Will both of those be free or?
I believe Trish will do it for free. I don't know what, I didn't read the whole flyer on the Cafe Corazon one, but
that's good. That's excellent. That makes it very convenient to West Plaza.
So Margie, I wanted to put together a list of COVID resources, but I'm also recognizing that there needs to be a list of voting resources, especially free notaries, that I want to make easily available to folks, not only through our Facebook page, but also on our website. So do you know who I could reach out to just see if there's like a link even to that web page or something, and if it's updated daily or how it gets updated? And that way we can share the information and not have to keep 2 or 3 different copies going around different neighborhood associations.
I think the League of Women Voters is going to be right on top of that. So I would say that their website, lwvkc.org, is going to be an excellent nonpartisan resource, and they will keep that updated all the time. They're doing a great job.
Thank you. And we can also let them know, right? We can contact them via mail if we know of another notary that's available. Certainly. As well, right? Okay.
Certainly. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So Nathan Kline says, please offer my services if you would like.
Yeah, I'm a notary and I'm notarizing ballots. I notarize a lot for the primary, and I don't charge anybody. I believe everybody should vote. I don't care who you're voting for. You don't have to vote for me. I wouldn't know who you're voting for.
Where do you do it from?
I can do it from my home. I can meet folks, in public or come to their place.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, Margie. That was great information. So we'll be sure to, I think you sent us out some information earlier that we need to make sure that we're still sharing, and we'll obviously want to link to the League of Women Voters site where we can see daily updates, it sounds like, for all known notaries that we can access to notarize our ballots.
And I will post that League of Women Voter KC.org site on our discussion and watch pages as well. And Julie Jennings, should we add that to West Plaza's website too?
Oh yeah, that should be a big banner.
Yeah,
on our website.
Big banner. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Margie.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good job. I appreciate that. Josh, it looks like you're up next with PIAC updates.
Okay. Shoot, I wrote this in a Word doc and I can't find it, but I'm just going to do a quick Google Maps presentation of what I submitted for PIAC this year. So, learning how to use technology, screen share. There we go. Okay. So, this is the West Plaza map that I created on Google Maps. Let me zoom in because I'm way zoomed out here. Okay, so this is looking at some of the areas that we wanted to tackle for PIAC, but this was as of the prior year. So I guess it would have been 2019 technically. We sought to make a corridor that was pedestrian friendly through Wyoming, and I believe that has been approved by the PIAC budget committee. So they're just getting estimates now. I haven't heard back from them yet, but I have been meaning to actually send them an email and ask them what's going on. When we met last time to talk about PIAC, we also voted to make Liberty Street the other walkable corridor in our neighborhood. And so my assumption at the time when I was presenting that was I had already submitted the request from 45th Street to 48th Street. Apparently I skipped a block in there for whatever reason. So that was not approved for the prior year, but what I did this year is I went ahead and I took care of this block right here. So it's Liberty, I think it's 4,700 to 4,600. I submitted it's probably, yes, it's that one. 47 to 4,600. I submitted a request for both sides of the sidewalks as well as ADA curbs. And then over here on West 45th Street, we were notified about a woman that had fallen on one of these sidewalks and had really hurt herself and had to go to urgent care to have that taken care of. And she asked what we could do as a neighborhood association, to make that sidewalk safer. There's not a whole lot that we can do, but we can go through PIAC, and if it's approved, they can seek to fix those sidewalks. So I believe it was, I want to say it was here. It's between State Line and Bell Street on 45th Street. I got both sides of the street, north and south. And that's it for our PIAC updates. The next PIAC period, the submission deadline will be August 31st, if I'm not mistaken, and that will be next year. So if you have any ideas for ways to make West Plaza safer, whether if it's asking for crosswalks, improvements to sidewalks, maybe a new bike rack somewhere, some kind of beautification project, anything along the lines of just really enhancing the safety and beauty of the neighborhood, that all falls within the purview of PIAC. And so again, I can share the link on our Facebook group that just links to the PIAC website that provides more information. Any questions? Okay.
Going to Overland Park.
One of the worst sidewalks, I think, is on Fairmount between, isn't it 45th and 46th? Some of the worst sidewalks. The sidewalks have been like this. We've lived here for 23 years. If we can get improvements, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
I tried.
It's considerable work, because typically what I like to do, and the PIAC committee appreciates this, is I like to go down each sidewalk and literally take pictures of every crooked paver, everything that's cracked, everything that's missing, everything that's potentially hazardous, and say, look at all these pictures of just, there's a tree root that's making a teepee out of our sidewalk, right? Or the sidewalk just isn't here, it just disappeared and then it comes back later. But it's not very safe. It's not very pedestrian friendly. But I know the PIAC committee really likes it when, a lot of thought and effort is put into these requests. So I go through each sidewalk and I take a picture of every paver that needs attention. And then what I do is I add up all those pavers that I think need attention. I multiply that by 3,000 because I think that's the estimate for each paver. And I go ahead and put in there, this is the estimated amounts. Here's the estimated amount of pavers that we think need addressing. And I just give them all the information. I've also learned that submitting smaller PIAC requests, right? So maybe one PIAC request per each side of the street also helps, because when we're thinking about PIAC, you only have so much money to go around to all of Kansas City, and each district only gets a certain amount of that money. And so if these council representatives and their PIAC representatives have to kind of choose which neighborhoods they're really going to prioritize and focus on, you know, we got a lot of focus in the last PIAC year. It might not be a while until we get a lot of investment like we did that year. So by making these smaller requests, we increase our chances that at least some of our requests might be approved. And therefore, even though it's small incremental improvement, we're able to do that for our neighborhood going through the PIAC process. Otherwise, I'm not sure what other means there really would be to fix the sidewalks other than paying out of your own pocket, which is unfortunate. There's also the GO bond that was put in place a while back, but the only place that they're going to tackle is actually Mercier Street between 47 and 45th Street. And I think that's really far along in the project. It might not be another year or two until you start to see that construction. So that's the kind of state of things, but if you find out anything more about other avenues that we can pursue for funding to get these sidewalks fixed, we'd love to hear more about that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh.
Excellent.
It looks
Josh.
like, yeah. It looks like up next we have Big John's Critter Book, photo book.
So we have a photo book that's due to arrive on Monday, according to, I just checked on Shutterfly. It's a 25-page hardcover, 8 by 11-inch photo book, and it's really quite beautiful. I can't pull it up here because I'm not on my desktop. I just tried to check that out because that's where I made it. But if anyone is interested in seeing a preview of that, they can send me an email or put your name in the chat, and I can send you a copy of the preview just by email to look at that. But we can order those, more of those, and the book that I ordered was around $40, but it depends on the deal that Shutterfly is having at any particular time and the quantity, obviously. So we will have that on Monday to give to John, and I'm happy, again, to send out a preview of that if anyone is interested in ordering one of those books.
And I'll interject just because there may be some people on this call who don't know who John Cummings and his art is. So John Cummings has been a very long time resident of the West Plaza and supporter of all that we do. He's also, he's at, what, I can't remember the cross street. He's at 46 and Genesee or
Wyoming, I think.
Wyoming. Okay, 46 in Wyoming.
46 in Genesee.
Oh,
between
46
Genesee and Genesee. It's
46 in Genesee. So, and so he's the one who sees these metal art creatures all throughout the neighborhood. Those are that's his art. And they're very popular in this area. And he's such a generous guy. If you have gone up to him and said, hey, can I have a piece of art, something that's selected from anything that was pre-made? He's like, yep, if you can haul it, because they're incredibly heavy, you can take it for free. So you'll see these metal creatures all throughout the West Plaza. Well, in the past year or two, John's health has been failing considerably. And so we, as a board, decided to put together a collection of photos of his art and some of the owners of the people that own his art alongside their creature. So we compiled this photo book. We are going to give him a copy, of course. And then since it's such a popular art subject, we're going to sell the book as well to anybody who wants to buy one. So thank you to Renee and to Eric who put the collection of photos together and are getting the books printed. We really, really appreciate your efforts.
She just uses his email.
Exactly. That's all it is. He had nothing to do with it. In spirit,
he had nothing to do with it. He didn't have anything to do with it.
I pointed them out every now and then when I saw one.
There you
so
go.
Anyway, yeah. So Margie said she wanted a copy. If anyone else, just let me know, and I'll just email that to you. And then if we want to order some extras for purchase, we could definitely do that.
It is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty.
Thank you again, Renee, for getting all this together.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so I emailed Officer Holly Sticken. It looks like she was unable to attend tonight. So I will just briefly say, so I'm Julia Thompson, and in addition to being Vice President, am Chair of the West Plaza Neighborhood Watch Committee. I will make super quick updates. The main thing is we're encouraging people to participate in the Neighborhood Watch virtual training on Saturday, October 10th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. If you are interested in participating in that, please reach out to info@westplaza.org. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes. Yep. Or put your name in the chat, and I'll name and email in the chat, and I will reach out to you. There's certainly room for people to attend. And we'll talk about the Neighborhood Watch training, what that entails, and then activities that the Neighborhood Watch Committee would like to see implemented in the neighborhood. So that was kind of the main thing. I know we're kind of cutting close on time.
I had a quick question for you, Julia.
Sure.
Did we
Yes.
share the invitation with other surrounding neighborhoods as well?
We have not yet. I was going to prioritize West Plaza neighborhood members, but we most likely will be sharing it with some of our neighborhoods. So Volker, Westwood, and Volker, Westwood, and
Probably Plaza Westport now.
maybe Plaza Westport, whoever. We'll open it up. Valentine.
Thank you.
That was
I'll help you with
Valentine,
that,
yeah.
I'll help you with that, Julia. I have contact
Okay.
for a lot
Great.
of the neighborhoods. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much.
Well, I think I got everybody that was a member entered or raffled on a raffle ticket. To recap, our raffle is a lovely centerpiece donated by Stephanie Merle and 2 bottles of wine. So I'm throwing the lottery tickets, raffle tickets in the air. And this is the one that came closest to me. Oh gosh, Renee! Renee!
Good money.
So you get this lovely centerpiece that you didn't see because you weren't on when I showed it, and 2 bottles of white wine.
Wow, thank you. I've
So
never won anything before.
Exactly. Well, when you come tomorrow to pick up your mail,
Okay,
you can pick up your prize.
perfect.
All right.
All right, fantastic. Julie, we have anything else on the agenda, or are we done?
Other than reminding people that we are doing our first event that doesn't involve trash collection on Saturday, September 26th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Art in the Park is happening in the park. One of our artists is here on the call, Marlene. Will be there with Ann Scott with their crafty creations. And we will have a yoga class at 10 a.m. So everybody will have their booth set up, and then we're going to go do yoga. So it should be very, it's a long time span. So the crowd should not be huge. There's plenty of room in the park, even though it's a tiny little park and we don't have space for an off-leash dog area. We have enough space for art in the park. People can still sign up if you have friends in the neighborhood that are artists and they have not heard the word that it's happening. By all means, please spread that. But come down. We're going to have caramel apples from Anador's. We're trying to have pie. Bay Boys may also have a booth as well. So Art in the Park.
Bay Boys, Johnny Joe's. I asked Johnny Joe's Pizza, not Bay Boys.
Well, I asked Bay Boys, and Julian's busy, but Jake was thinking about it.
Oh, okay, cool.
But they haven't confirmed back either one of them. So
thanks.
People might have to bring their own lunch.
You guys don't forget that the WPNA cleanup is October 24th.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the website has our Google Calendar, and all of those things are on it.
That's
so if you haven't gone to the website, please go to the website. If you haven't joined the neighborhood association, the link to do that is there as well.
Good.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming out tonight. Thank you again to all of our guests and presenters. To everyone else, please stay safe, stay healthy out there. And again, let us know if there's anything that we can do for you. Take care, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Josh.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.